Hello everybody, it's me here. Today we're going to be playing some Microsoft Flight Simulator and flying the Airbus A320 from Edinburgh to London. So right now I'm just running through the basic checklist of turning on things like the battery, and I'm going to be turning on the external power and the engine bleed switches and all those faults. If you're wondering, I'm actually voicing over this first part because I forgot to record audio for this part. So, yeah, now I have to do this thing to get the audio going. So going through, we're going to be turning on the APU, the auxiliary power unit of this aircraft, which is basically the way that how do I explain the APU? Well, it's used to make it so that the aircraft still has power even after the engines aren't on, because at the moment we're still waiting. So right now we're going to probably start up our engine, and remember correctly, I tried to set up a thumbnail for a second. Maybe that'll happen a bit later. I'm going to be turning on some lights probably because it'd be nice to have lights on in this A320. If you didn't know, the A320 is one of the highest selling passenger aircraft, or fastest, not highest selling. It would be like the 737, but the A320 is about the size of the 737, carry about 100 people. Yeah, maybe even more on some other models. And right now we're going to be flying this British Airways flight as we slowly go through the checklist. And the APU bleed needs to go on at this point. So going through, we're going to turn on each pump. And then we can go and start the engine after we turn on the pumps. Alright, so if I remember correctly, at this point we are calling ATC and getting pictures as well. I was trying to get pictures, but I ended up got a better thumbnail picture later than what I got here. Couldn't really get the best camera angle for this one because it's all this little dark bit, and it just doesn't look great because of its night flying. Oh yeah, forgot to mention we're going to be night flying an instrument flight plan over the UK right now. It's going to be fun. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is, give me a second, just closing my door for my recording, and we're going to be tuning to the air traffic control and getting that going.
Edinburgh ground Speedbird 157, could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Alright, so then I connect the jetway to the aircraft. Now,
the jetway is going to be connected.
That's a little bit that goes and connects passengers. Now, next bit, we're going to be doing our baggage and catering, if I remember correctly. And, that sound really annoyed me here because basically I think I did something wrong, but all it meant is that, was that the jetway was connected, and I think I did something wrong, so I just basically held the jetway in for like a couple seconds and was like, hey, you know, let's just say that the passengers got on. They're like, all the passengers are like running marathons, so like they're all like speedy runners going. I don't know why they'd be going there, but they can all just run really fast and they just run into the aircraft from the thing. So yeah, had myself a nice coffee here, feeling a little tired earlier, but we're going to get our baggage and catering, so we can get the baggage and catering. If you want to know what the Speedbird thing is, I think I say this later, but if you want to know what the Speedbird thing is, that's the official British Airways call sign. So, the way this video works, and the way hopefully other videos of this format will work, is that I'm going to be doing this pre-flight thing, like what I'm doing now. And then I'm going to be recording the takeoff, that's all that, and then I'm going to cut to the landing after, because I don't want everyone to sit through an hour of just sitting there doing nothing, because that's boring for viewers, maybe not for me, viewers, yes. I'm in London Heathrow, which is an airport out in London, and we're flying out of Edinburgh, in Scotland. And we're just getting our IFR clearance, which is our instrument flight. So we're not just going to be flying purely by visuals. We're going to be using our instruments and GPS and radar and stuff to track where we're going. So at the moment, I think we're clicking turning on some lights.
Contact ground on 121.755.
And then what I'm going to be doing here is I am going to be pulling this thing up and connecting the jetway and the baggage. Well, disconnecting all that. I can tell it's already done. So next up, we're going to probably get taxi and then push back until we get to the runway.
Ready to taxi IFR.
I'm just using the VFR map to just generally figure out where we're going to be taxiing.
Taxi, 2 and halt short of runway 24 via taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 118.705.
Taxiway Alpha is the one right by the runway. Just acknowledge the taxi clearance. We're going to get going.
Alpha Speedbird 157.
Alright, so now we're just going to be preparing to taxi by going to ground services and requesting pushback from the little pushback man.
Speedbird 157 requesting pushback.
I'm just been using the VFR map to do my pushback from Merker. And that's about it. Yep. Alright. So now we should be pushing back. Where's the pushback? Yeah, the pushback guy takes a bit to come, and then I gotta disable the parking brake, which I do in a second. Looking around, you can just see the beautiful. This game is honestly such a beautiful game, you know. Like at the moment, although we can all see some lights in the airport, and you know, it's still such a beautiful looking game. One thing I don't like about the small airport is the fact that the little lights on, there's no taxiway lights anywhere. It's kind of annoying.
Edinburgh ground
So I requested the pushback tug to steer to the right, left.
The aircraft to the left.
Using the map, we're going to be trying to face, and it turns out we went the wrong way, but you know, we meant to push it to the right, but I pushed it to the left, and yeah, it was crazy. So then I got to the right point and slammed on the brakes, and then I was going to tell pushback man to stop us pushing back.
157 requesting the end of pushback.
Oh yeah.
157 request to end pushback received.
Alright, so now we're just gonna either run over the pushback tug or just go ourselves. Oh, no, he's gonna get out fast, hopefully, and we'll just increase throttle and get out of here. Trying to get our lights going. Just turning on those landing lights because it was really hard to see at the moment, and that would be nice to be able to see. Except for that guy, he could see just as well as I could. So yeah, we just speed up here and get ready to get going, I suppose. Engine mode, we're going to turn on the engines right now. So the ignition start, turn on each engine's master. Now we just wait for the engines to stabilize. Well, it'll take a bit of time, but hey, it's just, all we're doing is just, I'm just increasing the throttle and then lowering it, and then we're going to get those engines going. Yeah, that's the entire plan. And this nice little looking mug here that we're going to be, and I'm drinking coffee out of. Here's our general flight plan. We're going to be flying all the way across the UK into the airport in London. The airport's, if I remember correctly, a bit east of London, so we won't actually be seeing anything special from London, like Big Ben or stuff like that, or the Houses of Parliament, or Buckingham Palace, stuff like that. You won't really be able to see that. But now over here, you can turn on, we're going to be, since we started up the engines, we're going to be turning off the APU bleed and turning off the APU. And setting the engine mode to normal. Alright, so now, remember correctly, we're going to just throttle up and get going taxiing. I'm going to turn on GPS tracking so we can know where we're going to be heading. We're going to need to take a large right turn over into the actual area, if I remember correctly. It's just a relatively wide right turn. Oh god. Oh no. This is... Oh, well, never mind. I was worried that we weren't going to taxi and turn fast enough from the clip. I can't really remember too well because I filmed this a while ago. And so now we're just going to be coming around to the taxiway. We're going to be taking a left turn, then a right turn. And we should be on the taxiway heading towards the runway for this flight. To be honest, I probably flew out of the wrong runway. I wouldn't have, but would have been silly if I did, wouldn't it? Alright, now, as we continue going down this way towards the... We go down this way towards the runway. We'll just slowly but surely taxi all the way up and line up with the runway, take off, and get going. That should be the plan. Making sure I don't taxi too fast, except I was taxiing like double the speed I should be taxiing at. But hey, fast taxi equals good video. I don't know why, that makes no sense now that I think about it. But hey, I mean, I suppose it makes some sense. You know, the quicker you can taxi your vehicle, the better your video will be, because you'll be spending less time just on the ground doing nothing.
Edinburgh ground speedbird
like
157 requesting pushback.
And then here I did something stupid and decided to request pushback again when I meant to look to go get clearance from the runway, and I ended up putting on pushback. It's one of the weirdest things ever. One of the things I like about this game is the fact that the actual air traffic control, it actually works, and it's cool being able to respond to air traffic control because it adds a weird feeling to the world. We really get it feels more realistic that way. So as we just prepare for our nice takeoff, and we're going to be taking off shortly. Alright, so we're going to keep going. Cleared for takeoff. We're going to acknowledge our takeoff clearance, then we're going to get on the runway and get into the air. So, the A320 is a really cool plane takeoffs-wise. It's pretty simple and easy to use. You basically, as soon as you're up at a point, you just turn on your autopilot and then you get going. As soon as you're up off the ground, you'll autopilot. Yep, that's about the takeoff. So you end up pulling a bit of a wider turn than you're supposed to be taking here, and then we gotta realign ourselves up with the runway. And then we're just gonna slam forward on the throttle and then get going. And set our flaps, slam forward on the throttle to toga takeoff, which is the highest speed you can do for your takeoff. I could have gone a bit lower for a flex takeoff, but here in this case, this runway is too long, so I decided why not? We'll just, you know, use the toga. Yeah, you're supposed to use toga on shorter runways and the other one on longer runways. So as I was just trying to set our airspeed and keep ourselves lined up as we increase our throttle, and we're gonna shortly pull up, and we're in the air, or we're just gotta make sure we have a positive rate of climb. We're gonna put up the gear and put up the flaps, and we're going to just, as soon as we can, turn on the autopilot as we're trying to set everything up for the ILS. And we have our speed just below the 250, and we're going to be switching over to a different like thing. Let's just see what we do in a second as I set on the autopilot. Then I use the vertical speed bit to work on increasing up our vertical speed. And at this point I realized I forgot flaps and everything was kind of being a bit extreme. So I had to acknowledge the handoff. When will I acknowledge the handoff? I was such an idiot recording this. Alright, landing gear up.
119.875 speedbird 157.
Yeah, then we go to the next center, which is basically the ATC that controls now. And yeah. But for now, I was just figuring out the autopilot and making sure it worked. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We just go over here to the little autopilot bit and just press increase vertical speed. Hopefully as we increase our vertical speed, we will just nice and good. We're going to be taking a left turn to get on line with the path to London at this point. And looking at the throttle, we're going full throttle. No, we're going climb throttle because we're having on auto, because auto throttle is better in this case because it just holds a nice steady speed for what we need in this case. Yeah, that's what auto throttle does. It just holds a nice good speed for us, and we could bring. We're gonna, as soon as we hit over about 10,000, we usually bring that up, but as we'll just nice and slowly climb, and hopefully relatively soon we'll get ready for our for going to the other part where we're gonna land in London. But for now, we'll focus on our climb and our stuff to get ready to land in London. We can look out, we can see Edinburgh. Everything's so the game, I love the way this game looks, but everything's relatively hard to see right now because it's night. And yeah. So as we continue to just slowly climb up to our 9,000 feet for now, we're going to get going. So as we are going up, trying to figure out what to say, as they gave us our targeting up to 10,000, I suppose now. As our stuff is going up, we're climbing, we're auto throttling, and yeah, that's not a word. Okay, let's cut to the next clip, and I'll see you there. Hello, everybody. I am right now just coming back for a nice descent into London.
Runway 9 to right, approach Speedbird 157.
I'm just getting our speed right, getting our heading right, making sure everything's all right. So we're coming into London right now. We're gonna be heading down this way, off of this path, and then down just nicely into the airport. It's gonna be really a nice, simple approach. So yeah, going over our stuff down here. All I did was autopilot our way to our location, and our altitude and all that is set correctly. We're going to be way going down, and it's way slowing down at the same time as well, because both of those things are going to be very necessary for this little approach. Terrain, I probably don't need that. We got flight director ILS. We should help us to work on getting our landing done. Have that. Have date, GPS, all that. I probably don't need that. Just looking through here. Landing gear's up because we're not far enough out where we need landing gear. Oh no, I think I switched something. I'll just set that to max range to be as big as it can be. Constraint. Waypoint. Input. Airport. Input. Wouldn't make that much of a difference. Alright, now just doing some stuff, making sure everything's ready for our nice approach. Can't see much right now because we're going to be going through a layer of clouds over this area. Now we have our throttle is set on auto throttle. We're trying to lower our speed down so that we can maintain a nice speed when we're dropping down to 3,000. We could probably up our speed just for a bit right here, just to allow us to get there a bit faster. We'll just up to 275. Then as soon as we're on below 10,000, we gotta drop. Whoa, what did I do? Oh, this is a pretty simple fix. Yeah, we just zoom in, and zoom out. Yeah, there's a bunch of airports here, but we gotta reduce this thing's range. Oops. I'm gonna select where we want our ILS here. This should help us get our landing set, our nav, our plan. All these modes are helpful, but in this case, I'm just gonna stick with nav. Know where to be going. Let's open up our thing. Alright, going down this way. We're gonna be heading down this waypoint, then all the way down here to like this waypoint, and with all these waypoints, we're just gonna nice and slowly come down into London Heathrow. You know, I've been to London before. It's a really good city. It's a really fun city to visit, you know. There's all these cool things. You get to ride the buses and, you know, stuff like that. Honestly, that's something that's cool. Buses and public transit. I know it exists in America, but it's not really that common. I mean, a lot of places have good transit, but many American cities are very car-built. But I suppose it's also because you could say they're newer cities in the sense like London dates back to the Roman era, which makes London one of the oldest, not one of the oldest, but a really old city. So yeah, hopefully soon, if it's not for these bad clouds, we might be able to see some London icons, like things like the London Eye, the Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, the Shard. Yeah, those things in London. But we're also relatively far because this airport isn't right in the middle of London. London City. Yeah, if you don't know, London has many airports around it. It has Luton, Gatwick, Heathrow. We're gonna land at Heathrow. Luton, Gatwick, Heathrow, and then London City. London City is right in the middle of London. Like, their approach is really steep and like short runway, so it's right in the middle of London. So as we descend from the sky, we should be heading into a cloud, it looks like, shortly. Now our altitude is decreasing. I'm gonna work on we need to lower our speed since we're below 10,000. Let's drop to 240. We're gonna drop to 240. Now, judging by our VFR map, we can see we're about here. We're going to be following it, because right here is London. This is London City. Right here, you can see it. It's in this middle of this weird river kind of zone. But, so we're rather far from London, so we can't really see too much. But, we will be coming in for a nice approach. Hopefully. So, judging by our speed, we probably...
Speedbird 157, contact Heathrow approach on 134.9 rate.
You know what? You might be wondering about the whole Speedbird thing, but because...
134.9 rate.
Give me a second, the ATC likes to talk. So the whole Speedbird thing, that's actually the official British Airways thing that they actually use for their call sign. They use Speedbird.
Heathrow approach Speedbird 157 is at 6,700 feet, descending 3,000 feet.
So as we come in nice and slow. Not slow, since we're...
Altimeter tree, 0.05.
Oh man, I feel like we've been going through this supposed cloud for ages. Altimeter is set, and we'll continue as planned. Let's open up our VFR map, see where we are. Trying to get from here. Oh, I can't point at the screen, can I? I'll use my mouse. Go here, here, and here into EGLL, which is the code for London Heathrow. And now we can see it on a map. That's good. This is the runway we'll be landing on. So it's pretty simple, straight-on approach into this runway. There's only 2 runways here at London Heathrow, but London Heathrow is so busy, even with its only 2 runways. I heard they were planning on expanding it by adding another runway. Oh, doing something now. We're in that cloud. I heard they were trying to expand London Heathrow with another runway that goes like up here, I think. And I don't know if they still are, because I knew it was getting some pushback by locals because no one wants a house, the runway built over their house. But their house will be destroyed and a runway be built there. No one wants that. And it's probably really expensive getting in another runway. But I don't know. Heathrow could need it, considering it's that busy. but they could also just go to other things like Gatwick, Luton, you know, a city even. Okay, so we can see what the terrain looks like, just in case. It'll go red, it'll go yellow or red, and if it does that, that's bad, and we should be more careful. And we should probably pull up then, because I don't want to be too low over London. Okay, our ILS is set. We should be able to set it to approach mode just as we come in to our nice old landing. And as you can see here, we can zoom in. I don't know why I'm looking at the airport. It's a pretty normal looking airport here, but hey, I like London Heathrow. I've actually gone here. It's a fun airport to visit. Okay, our altitude is looking good. Speed is good, altitude's good. I'm gonna honestly turn off that terrain thing, it's kind of annoying. Let me find the button for it. Yep, and we're on course. London has so many airports, it's insane. Like, actually insane. Oh, something interesting is happening weather-wise. Let's look. Is that... Can't tell if it's anti-ice lights or whatever, but we'll see once we come in for... It's either anti-ice stuff or, like, maybe... It's not lightning, because it would be... I would hear it, probably. It would look more interesting than just a couple little flashes. But I don't know, I can check the weather in London if I really, really need to. So you can see outside,
2,500.
Oh, we're lower because...
Speedbird 157, you are 20 miles northwest of Heathrow. Maintain present.
Alright, so we've gotten clearance from Heathrow.
Tower on 118.705.
Alright, acknowledging approach clearance.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Tower on 118.705, Speedbird 157.
Alright, now press 1. Contact Heathrow Tower. Let's do this.
Heathrow Tower, Speedbird 15718 miles northwest inbound RNAV Zulu runway 9 right approach.
Okay, RNAV Zulu.
Speedbird 157 Heathrow Tower. Cleared RNAV
it's
Zulu
with
runway 9
it's
right approach. Altimeter tree 0.04 wind 040 at 4.
Okay, wind isn't too bad.
Cleared RNAV Zulu runway 9 right approach, Speedbird 157.
Okay, we're not too low terrain-wise, because that would be pretty bad, honestly. Oh yeah, wow, look, you can see London down there.
500.
I keep hearing that because we are... Due to the fact they told me to descend to this altitude, but not really at that altitude. I'm kind of above it. I mean, not above it, I'm at that altitude, but that's like from sea level, not from the terrain. So as soon as we hit here, I'm going to probably switch it over to the other mode, where we'll fly approach mode. I could even take over myself if I wanted to fly ILS to this runway. That might not be a horrible idea, but ILS, runway 09er. We're going to switch it to approach mode over here in a second, just as we just lower our airspeed down to something like 230. No, let's work on. Let's just lower our, let's decrease selected altitude down to something like 2,000. Be nice to see, but we can't, so yeah. If we turn on approach mode, what'll happen? Okay, so hopefully things should work. If things don't, we can always take over ourselves and hand fly this thing in for a final approach. But this should line us up on the trajectory with low speed and fun times. Low speed and fun times. I should make that a slogan. Sounds horrible now that I think about it. Why would I do that? That sounds horrible. Final, and we're gonna be turning on to our final in just a second. Let's adjust our altitude and make sure. So we're gonna be down to 1,500 then, if that's the case. I'll turn on terrain because I'm a bit scared at the moment. Terrain on HUD. The HUD looks much worse, so we can't actually see where we're going. Okay, terrain-wise, we're probably good. Let's turn that off. ILS is good. We're gonna this is ILS 09R. We're gonna take a left. Okay, will it take the left turn? Yep, and we're turning. We are turning, and our altitude is lowering. We are turning, and this should be our final little approach into 2,500. And let's continue down. Okay, let's continue down. Just nice and slowly. Turn. Alright, we're turning onto the approach. Probably need to get a little bit more onto the actual approach, but hopefully, yep, we'll be adjusting with the approach mode on. Hopefully, and we'll just lower our altitude. It probably needs to be we're just gonna probably lower even more if we're gonna be on ILS slope and all that. This should line us up pretty nicely. I'll probably take over just in the last second for this landing over here. Not last second, but you get the idea. Oh god, that's way too low. We want to just...
Speedbird 157, cleared to land runway 9er right. 105.
1500. Alright, now we just save that. Acknowledge landing clearance. Let's keep going.
Cleared to land runway 9er right, Speedbird 157.
We're pretty far out, but it could be worse. Worse? What am I saying? This is a little approach. Alright, let's lower our speed. Okay, there's the runway. We need to probably be much lower, honestly. I will turn off the autopilot at this point. Let's just, now that we're on slope, we'll just keep going down. Let's just hold that. We might be a bit high, I can't tell. We're probably fine though. And just come in nice and slowly for a good old approach to London Heathrow. 1,000. Okay, we need a bit more height, so let's just change up our throttle a bit so we can get more height. I just realized we have We'll just probably go down a bit more. Gotta line this thing up, don't we? Oh god, this is not good, is it? Could be worse, could be worse. We're still on slope, we're on approach. We're in a very good situation. A bit high, but hey, we can deal with it. We're going down. We're 500. I don't know if we're not on a slope, so probably pretty bad that we aren't on slope, but hey. Okay, we probably want to get a little bit more speed here. Maintain. Get full speed on that. Just trying to maintain a nice old approach. Red on red, not good, but hey. Now let's just try to lower ourselves.
60, 50,
We'll be a bit landing.
30, 20, retard.
Probably shouldn't have jarred the nose down, but hey, it works. As we slow down the plane. I mean, the plane, it did insult me, so that's pretty bad, but hey.
Speedbird 157, exit runway when able.
Alright, so thank you all very much for watching. If you liked the video, go leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have something cool to say, write it in the comment section down below. I'm trying out this new format of doing these flights that are kind of just normal flights, nothing crazy or anything. But thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.